If you want to stay up to date with all current hip hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to become part of this community. Alright, we got some Young Thug news that we gotta talk about because this is about his new album Punk that he's been teasing for quite some time now that I've already talked about on the channel and that I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to. We actually got a pretty solid release date for this thing and also some new tracks that we've heard, so let's talk about it. So Young Thug performed at Rolling Loud the other week, and during his set at the festival, he also previewed a new song called TikTok, and this one is very specifically from that new album Punk. On stage, he also talked about dropping this album very soon. He got the whole crowd like hyped for it to hype up this new song, TikTok, that he was about to perform, and then he did, and the song is actually sounding pretty alright. It's nothing special to me. It's not like, oh, Young Thug is doing this crazy thing out here. But what's really special is that he, after that, then also did that Tiny Desk concert for NPR Music. This is something that, of course, we see a lot of artists do. A lot of artists, when they're about to drop a new album, when they just dropped a new album and they want to, play some music for it, and they don't have like a big concert or festival coming up that they can do that on, they usually use this Tiny Desk home concert, setting to do that. And Young Thug did that as well. But in this case for 4 unreleased songs, and those 4 unreleased songs are Die Slow, Dropping Jewels, Hate the Game, and then also TikTok, which he already performed at Rolling Loud. He also performed Ski at this Tiny Desk concert, but that is a single that we already know from his last project, Slam Language 2, which he did together with his YSL crew that I reviewed rather positively, not as well as the first one, but it was really tedious. A lot of tracks just were just fillers, but I feel like Young Thug performed pretty well on there, so that has me really hyped for Punk or whatever he has coming up in the future. But let's talk about these new tracks that we heard. So first of all, this NPR Tiny Desk concert is probably one of the best ones that I've ever seen. Young Thug really brought a lot of energy to this. He had his whole band, his whole crew that came on there with him really feel this. It wasn't just, them lifelessly just, playing some instruments, him rapping, singing, but rather really, when it was hyped, they were jumping around, they were doing it, bringing a lot of energy to the table. So shout out to everyone who was organizing that event, because that was really cool. I recommend you go watch that if you haven't yet. Probably one of the best Tiny Desk concerts that we've seen so far. And the tracks that we've heard are sounding very interesting. Now, in the beginning, I think it was for the second track that we had on there, I'm talking about Dropping Jewels. It was a rather slow song. Thugger was singing more than I've seen him sing in the past, and it sounded pretty well, surprisingly. Like this, him harmonizing the melodies that he used, they sounded all really good. He used his voice very well. I think that Thugger is still one of the most interesting voices in hip-hop, one of the most influential, voices to use different cadences, to use different flows with his very nasally voice, but it worked really well on that track. So that was probably my favorite one that he played. Now, for the other ones, specifically also TikTok, they really have like a rock influence. It could also just be, due to the fact that during these Tiny Desk concerts, they use live instruments instead of the studio versions. So maybe they just brought in the electric guitars for that specific occasion, and the, original or just standard beat is different. But the way that the electric guitar riffs sounded on here with the, together with his vocals, sounded really cool. A lot of, rock influences. We've seen him wanting to do that with Punk anyway. He wanted to use a lot more rock influences. Something that we've seen a lot of artists do. Trippie Redd dropped that deluxe to Pegasus with Travis Barker. That also was heavily rock influenced. We've seen Travis Scott go indie rock, or we see him go indie rock on Utopia, or at least that's what he wants to do. So right now, rock is like one of the favorite genres of hip-hop to blend with, And I like that Thugger is doing it on this new thing as well. And Thugger's voice fits really well on that type of style. He just, whenever something's going on with the instruments in the back, he can perfectly harmonize with those instruments and ride the vibe of the song really well. That's something that we've seen him do really well in the past, and it works for this rock infusion as well. So no doubt in my mind that this thing is not going to be, it's not going to be like cringe or him awkwardly trying to do rock. Like, I think he's going to go full in on this and blend it really well with whatever style he wants to bring. So that's the 4 tracks that we've heard. As I said, that TikTok single that we've now heard twice. Then also Hate the Game, Dropping Jewels, and Die Slow. I really recommend you go watch that Tiny Desk concert if you haven't yet. As I said, one of the best ones that we've seen so far. Now concerning the release date, because that's probably what people are most excited about. At the end of his Tiny Desk concert, Thugger turned around and we can see the back of his shirt. And the back of his shirt shows, you know, the title Punk written in like a rather pinkish way with like a star instead of the eye. But anyway, we can also see maybe an album cover that is like a square picture that I could see this thing use. And then also, probably the most interesting detail on here, the date, October 15th, 2021. And that is a Friday. That is, when you look at the calendar, October 15th this year is a Friday, so very, very likely this thing is dropping on that day. I don't think Thugger would have a shirt made with already the whole graphic visual elements of this album, maybe the cover art on here, also the name of the album, Punk, and then also the release date, without having it pretty surely drop that day. So we can say for 99.9% surely, Young Thug's new album Punk, which will likely have a lot of rock influence, if you want to find it yourself, go watch those snippets that we've heard, is probably dropping, or very, very surely dropping, on October 15th, 2021, which is a Friday, which is in about 2 months, so not that far in the future, so we can look forward to that already. But this is what we know about it so far. As we get closer to the release date, you already know that I'm going to drop a lot more videos on this, because this is an album that I am personally very excited about, so I'm going to be, dropping some material for that, so stay subscribed if you want to learn more about the album. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this. I'm excited for this. I like what we've heard so far. I love those singles where he's more singing, doing more melodies and stuff like that. I also like that TikTok single. I think it's amazing that he announced this not through some, post, but rather through a shirt on, at a concert. So I like when artists do that, go, the extra mile, do something for it. So I like that. That's my thoughts on this. Now I want to know what you think about this. Are you excited for Young Thug's new album Punk dropping October 15th? What are you looking forward to the most? Did you, watch his Rolling Loud performance? Did you watch his Tiny Desk concert? What you think of it? What do you think about the hints that we got on the back of his shirt? Do you think that is like 100% the release date for it? Or what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media and blog down in the description. It really helps me out. Until the next one, y'all have an incredible day, and y'all take care.